Hi everyone, and welcome to our Conferences and Instructional Recordings webinar. I'm Jenny McGee, for those that don't know me, and I'm an instructional designer in the e-learning division at Camden County College. And what we're going to do today is go over some ways that you can do some videos for your students. We'll look at using the Conferences tool in Canvas, and we'll also look at a couple of different ways that you could provide video lectures, mini lectures for your students as well. And I do want to just mention everyone is muted. It just makes it easier if I mute everyone from the start so that we don't have a lot of background noise. So I do encourage any questions that you may have, but I will ask that you locate the chat area on the right-hand side of your screen. If you have not done that already, you don't need to type anything in right now, but if you do have a question at any point during this webinar, feel free to type it in. I will be stopping periodically to go over and look at the chat to check for questions. I don't have a moderator with me today, so I'm just going to have to stop periodically and scroll back through and look for questions. So feel free to ask. I will stop and answer at some point. I will ask that you try to keep the questions on the topic today. If you have any questions that are not related to conferences and instructional recordings, you're always welcome to email me, and my email address, if you do not have it, I will give you at the end of the session. So let's go ahead and begin. So we're going to take a look at Canvas here today, and we're going to start with the Conferences tool in Canvas. By the way, if you have not yet taken a look at the Canvas Faculty Hub, or if you have not yet received an invitation to join it, let me know. There is a lot of information in here. Most of what is being covered today is also included in different tutorials and resources in the Canvas Faculty Hub. So I always encourage you to look there if you are stuck or if you need a little bit of extra help with using a feature of Canvas. So we'll start out here in our course, and we're going to take a look at the Conferences tab. Now, before I click in the Conferences tab, I do want to show you how to make sure that the Conferences tab is visible to your students. So your students are going to have to be able to click on this in order to get into any conferences that you may hold. And so to make sure that it is visible to students, you'll need to, first of all, if you look next to it and it doesn't have the eyeball with a line through it little symbol here, then you'll know that it is visible to your students. Some instructors like to hide it when they're not conducting a conference so that students can't get in and create their own conference, which they are able to do for whatever reason. So anytime you need to rearrange, reorder, or hide any of your tabs over here, you will always get to that area by clicking on the Settings tab and then going to Navigation. And then you'll just want to find the Conferences tab. Anything below this line that says drag items here to hide them from students is not going to be visible to students. So you just want to make sure that it's above this line. You can always drag and drop items to move them around. And then when you have put it where you want it and made sure that it is accessible, you'll just want to come down here and click Save to save any changes that you've made. All right, so now let's go ahead and take a look at the Conferences tab. So Conferences is a video streaming platform. It is sort of similar to Zoom, although as you'll see it in a minute, it doesn't look exactly like Zoom, but it's the same idea. It's a way to have synchronous conversations, interaction with your students. Now, we are not recommending that you have your course content presented to your students through conferences as your main way of presenting instruction. Online learning is designed to be mostly asynchronous, And we want to, of course, be sensitive to the fact that people take online courses because they can't necessarily be logged in at any certain time during the week. They may need to get their work done at midnight because they have kids or they have other responsibilities. So of course we don't want to make it so that students that can't be in a live conference are penalized in some way. But there will be times for, let's say, office hours, maybe meeting with a small group. Maybe you want to have an optional question and answer session, something like that. Conferences can be good for that type of purpose. So we'll look at first how to create a conference, and I'll show you what it looks like, and we'll talk about some limitations that this tool does have. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this Add Conference button here. And I want to give my conference a name, and it's going to automatically name it the name of your course. So if you want to call it something else, you can change the name. Under type, Big Blue Button is the only type. Big Blue Button is the free software that works with Canvas to give us the video conferencing capabilities. And then under duration, this kind of sounds like it would be the length of the conference, but this is actually how long into the conference are you willing to let students join. So if you are having a 60-minute office hour time frame where students can drop in, you might want to not allow students to get in after 45 minutes into it so that they can't pop in with a minute left and then ask you a bunch of questions that you don't necessarily have time to answer at that moment. So you don't have to fill this in if you don't want to have a time limit. You don't care when students pop in. You can just click on that no time limit box there and they can join at any point during the conference. This other option here is very important. Other than office hours, anything that you are doing, I do recommend that you record it. So if you were having a little small group meeting or some other type of thing that we don't want students to miss out on if they're not able to get logged in, then you would want to record it. So you would need to check this box to enable recording for the conference. You can give a description to let students know what's going to be covered, what's the purpose of the conference. And then down here under members is where you will invite your members of your course to the conference. So by default, all members will be invited. But if you uncheck this, it will also allow you to select an individual students. If, for example, you were needing to do a one-on-one session with a student who needed some extra help. And if you only invite Casey James to this conference, then these other students aren't even going to see that there is a conference going on at that time. But I'm going to stick with inviting everyone. And then I am going to click Update. So you will notice that there wasn't anywhere in there where I set a date and time for this conference. So it will let students know when you click that start button. It will send students a notification and let them know that a conference has started. But if they don't happen to be logged into Canvas or looking at their email at that point in time, they're not going to be aware that there is a conference going on. So you will need to notify them ahead of time that there's a conference that's going to be happening. So you could do that, of course, through email, through the Canvas inbox. It's very easy to add an event to your course calendar by just clicking on the calendar and clicking on the date when the event is going to happen. And then just adding that event in there and choosing the course that it's going to happen in, and that way those students will see that event on their calendar. They will also have an update on their dashboard, and they'll have a notification on the course homepage as well. So I do recommend using several different methods for alerting students about a conference that it will be occurring. So let me go back into my course here. So when you're ready to start the conference, you'll see this under New Conferences. You will see the Start button over here on the right-hand side, and you will click Start. And it's going to ask you a couple of things here. It's going to ask for permission to use your microphone. Normally, of course, you would, if you want your students to be able to hear you, you're going to need to enable that. Because we are currently using Go to Training, and that is using my microphone, I'm just going to click Listen Only. But you will also see here that you could join using your phone, and your students will have that option also. And I'm going to click Listen Only. And as soon as I start the conference, even though I've already set this conference to enable recording, that doesn't mean that it records automatically. I still have to come up here to the top and click this Start Recording button in order to record. And so it's going to alert me again that I don't have a microphone and ask if I do want to start recording. So I will say yes. So I do want to just for a minute pull up a different screen here. So I have a fake student account that is enrolled in my fake course where this conference is happening. And so I am going to just show you the student will have to click on the course. When they go to the course, there's really nothing in here that's letting this student know, guess what, there's a conference going on right now. So they're going to have to know ahead of time that they will need to come to the course, click on it, click on conferences, and then they will see under new conferences that the conference is in progress, and they will need to click join to join. So that may be something that you would want to just very specifically tell students how they are going to find that conference. Because again, it's not going to really alert them in any way other than the emails and notifications that you have sent out. It will send them an email when it starts, but it's not going to say anything on the course homepage. So I'm going to say that this student wants to listen, and let me get out of this so we'll get back to the instructor view here. So if we look at our big blue button interface, you'll see over here on the left-hand side, you'll have a list of your users. If you've got a large group of students that you're expecting, I would recommend doing like what I did with all of you and clicking on the status button here, or this gear button here, and muting everybody to start except yourself. And the reason for that is, again, I've been in a few meetings lately that didn't have everyone muting, and you've got, you know, dogs barking and TVs in the background and people coughing, and it can be very loud and very difficult to concentrate and hear. So I usually recommend you can mute, and then if later you decide you want to unmute, you can always come back to this gear and unmute everybody. Now down here, if you want to save the usernames, if you want to have a record of who joined into this conference, you can click on this, and this is going to save a rich text document that will have a list of the users' names. Down here, you can create breakout rooms for the students that are currently in the conference. So unfortunately, you can't do this ahead of time, but you can, once the students are in there, if you want to give them the opportunity to work in small groups, you can do that by clicking on this button here, and it will allow you to set the number of rooms, set how long you want these breakout rooms to be active, and once that time is up, it will close the breakout rooms and put everybody back into the main conference room. And you can either drag and drop the students into the rooms where you want them, to put them in the groups you want them to be in, or you can randomly assign the rooms, or you could also allow the students to choose what room they want to join. And then you'll click Create. But I'm actually going to close this for right now. Other thing that I do want to point out is the big blue button, because of the number of people that are currently, with everything going on and all basically education everywhere going online, they have limited a couple of the features. So originally you could allow all the students to see each other, And to save bandwidth, by default, the students cannot see each other. They can see you if you share your webcam, and you can see them. But by default, they cannot see each other unless you come and click on the name of the student and you click this Promote to Moderator button. If you do that, it will allow them to see each other. So that's just a little tip. I wouldn't do this unless you have a specific reason why this is necessary, especially with a large group. But this is just a tip to make that work if you need to. All right. So here you've got the public chat area. So you can put information in here if you need to. It's also a good place for students to ask questions, just like how I have you guys sharing your questions in the chat. And then over here on the right-hand side is where you've got your big blue button interface that you can put whatever it is that you want to share with your students. So you can click on this next slide here, and you can use this as a whiteboard. And then you've got your whiteboard tools over here on the right-hand side. So if you were talking and you wanted to kind of lecture and make notes as you go, you could draw a text box for yourself and type notes in it. You also could draw if you wanted to. It's not the most, it's a little bit of a cumbersome way to, it doesn't always work out with the best handwriting, but you do have that there in case you maybe had a PowerPoint presentation or something that you wanted to draw attention to. You do have these tools here. If you want to upload a presentation, you can do that by clicking on the plus sign here and clicking this middle option that says upload a presentation. And this would be a PowerPoint or a PDF that you can upload. So you would click on your computer. I'll just use this one, and then click upload at the top. And depending on how big the file is, this file is not big, it's just 1 or 2 slides, you will have, it could take a little bit longer. But again, like I said, you do still have your whiteboard or your annotating tools that you could use while you are lecturing. You can get rid of any annotations that you have here. Now, you also could share your webcam, and that's going to allow students to see you. And again, you will be able to see them if they want to share their webcams and you have enabled it. I'm just pulling mine up real quick just to kind of show you what it looks like. So it's pretty small, it's not real big. And again, it could possibly, if you have a large class and you're allowing everyone to share, it could possibly slow things down some. You also can, if you click on this icon here, you can share your screen. Now, I will caution you with this because unfortunately, when you're recording this, it's only going to record your voice, it will record your webcam, and it will record anything that you have here in this presentation window. But if you get out of the presentation window and you share your screen, which you can do, and it can be a very helpful tool, but it is not going to record anything that happens outside of this window. And that's another thing apparently that they have done to try to cut down on the amount of bandwidth and memory that's being used, which is unfortunate because if you're trying to demonstrate something that you can't demonstrate, let's say how to use something in a spreadsheet, then you will not have that as part of the presentation. So I do see that I've got a couple of questions here. So someone asked, with the breakout rooms, if there's audio, can you go into each group and listen to them? So yes, with the breakout rooms, you will be able to visit the breakout rooms. And so if they are, if they're using audio, you can go in and monitor and see what they're doing, help them out if they need it. So yes, you can definitely go in and visit the breakout rooms that are underway. And then I had a question about uploading Word documents. So you could save your Word document as a PDF and upload it that way, but you can't edit the Word document from right here. So if you're trying to type as you go or something like that, that is not going to work in here. It's just going to have the PDF and have it whatever it looked like when you uploaded it. With PowerPoint presentations, I had another question about saving, getting fade-ins to bring in a line at a time within the slide. I don't believe that those will work within conferences, and that's something that I can look into for you, but I believe what it's going to show here is just kind of static, almost like images. So it's going to just show what you have on that slide, but I don't believe that any type of animation or transitions or those types of things are going to be available here. And I will double check on that and get back to you on it, but from what I have seen, I don't think that that is possible. And so no, the hyperlink would not be interactive for students. If you put a hyperlink in there, they couldn't click on it while you're lecturing. What I might do is just type it into the chat, and that way they can just copy it and paste it into their browser. That might be an easier way to go. Or you could always just put it into a page in Canvas, and then they can just click on it straight from a page in Canvas rather than clicking on it within the conference. So there are definitely some limitations as far as what can be done. It's really meant just sort of as a way for instructors to provide content in the form of a lecture, or again, those breakout rooms allow students to get more involved. You can also allow them to ask questions and those types of things. So if you have any other questions about conferences, anything that you haven't asked yet, go ahead and type that in. So recordings can be up to 6 hours long. I had a question to ask about that. Hopefully no one is giving a 6 hour long presentation, but I will say that unfortunately, as you can see here, when you record a lecture, it's only available for 14 days. So these are not going to be saved long term on your Canvas, and there is not a way to download them. They are just automatically stored. I'll show you where to find them on in your conferences tab, and then after 14 days they are deleted. Okay, so sharing the screen and pulling up a video to play. Someone asked if that's possible, if you can do that, absolutely. Again, that if you are sharing your screen and playing a video, or there's even, if you click this plus sign here and click share an external video, it'll allow you to put in a, like a YouTube URL. But again, that is not going to be recorded as part of, they'll be able to hear your voice if you're talking, but the video itself is not going to be recorded as part of the conference's presentation. So if you do something like that, I would recommend maybe posting the video separately in Canvas in case students have missed something. So the start a poll function, if you want to maybe make your lecture a little more interactive, you can click the start a poll, and you can create a custom poll and put whatever you want to, or you could maybe ask a question and put in, if it's a yes or no, just click yes or no, and then you can see live responses to your poll. So you could ask a question and then they can answer. So it's a way that you could maybe make things a little bit more interactive to make sure people are paying attention. And yes, so just a minute, I will show you how the students can access the recordings. I just had a question about that as well. So I can definitely send a link to, there is a link, I believe someone asked about written instructions for using the conferences tool. And there are resources in the Canvas Faculty Hub for using the conferences tool. And I can also send you a link to where you can find that information on the Canvas community site. And unfortunately, I had a question about allowing extended time for recording. There is no way to extend that. It's going to be 2 weeks for the recording, and then it's going to automatically be removed from Canvas. So again, this is why we would not recommend necessarily using this as a main means of conveying your instruction. It's probably better for office hours, so students can maybe drop in if they need extra help, if you have a small group that you need to work with, that type of a thing, because of the limitations. And admittedly, there are definitely a lot of limitations here. So it's got certain things that it will work well for and others that it will not work as well for. All right, so when you are ready to end the conference, you can click up here on this kebab, as we call it, in the upper right hand corner and click End Meeting, and everyone will be disconnected, and it will take you back to your course. And so if we go back into the Conferences tab, this is where we will find our recording. You'll have to actually hit End again within Canvas, and then that will move down here into the Concluded Conferences area. So it may take a little bit of time. It might even take up to an hour or two if you have a really long conference that you are converting. So it is not going to be an immediate recording that you'll find here. But I have one down here that I did before. So you'll see where it'll say office hours was the name of this one too. And it says one recording. And then if you click on the little arrow here, you'll see that there's the presentation. And you can click on that and it will open up for you or for your students to watch. If at any point in time you need to delete a past conference, you can always just come here and click on the settings and click delete. So if you have any other questions about conferences, and again, there are a lot of resources on this in the Canvas Faculty Hub in case you need a refresher or you're looking for additional information. So the next thing I want to look at to create videos is within the Pages tab, or really wherever in Canvas you are that has a rich content editor. So you will see, I'm going to click on Pages, and I'm going to click Add Page. And as I'm sure you have noticed, as you've looked through Canvas, you will see this same set of tools all throughout Canvas. So you'll see this with assignments, discussions, quizzes, all have this, what's called the rich content editor. And you can use this to link to an external video, and I'll show you a little bit later when we look at uploading something to YouTube as a means of sharing videos, that you can put that right in here. But you also could just record yourself talking using your webcam using the Record and Upload Media button. And again, you'll see these same tools. So if you had an assignment and you maybe wanted to provide yourself talking about the assignment, giving instructions that way in addition to typed instructions, you could always do that. So you can click on this little button here. And it's going to ask for, well, I've already given permission to use my webcam. So the first time you do it, it will ask for permission. And then you could also just record your voice if you want to. So you can click on that and say no video, and then it will get rid of the video and just have your audio lecture. And click start recording, and it will record you. I don't recommend you wouldn't want to sit here and do this for, an hour or something. I would recommend keeping this maybe 10-15 minutes. As you can see, I am in a closet. It's the quietest room in my house. And I am not aware that there is a limit to a recording time, although I have had some. I'm going to go ahead and click finish on this. That's a beautiful clip for my video there. So we'll click save. And it's going to link to it right here in my page. I don't know that there is a hard and fast time limit. However, there have been a few instructors who have tried to do rather long, maybe like 45 minutes. And when they were finished, it said it was converting, and it kind of it took forever, or maybe never even finished. So I would not use this as more than maybe a 15-minute introduction to a module, or maybe a very small mini lecture giving directions, just sort of a way of increasing your social presence. This is going to stay up as long as you have it. There is no time limit on how this will stay up, but unfortunately there is not a way to share your screen as part of this. We'll look at an option for doing that in just a minute. But this is really just a talking head video. It's just you speaking. There's not a way to share your screen or pull up a PowerPoint or anything like that. So this is just kind of a simple media. You can always copy this over from one semester to the next. So you can copy, this will be embedded as a page or an assignment, however you have it, and you can always copy this from one semester to the next. So if there's any other questions about recording with pages, it's pretty simple. It's not complicated, but it also does not have any bells and whistles associated with it. So I have a question. I think, Patricia, you're asking how you would copy it over from one semester to the next. So assuming that you're not just copying your entire course, let me just going to call this media sample. I'm going to click save and publish. So this is a page. So in order to copy something from one place to another, I actually will show you the best way to do this. So my little cheat here, or tip that I always use, if you are copying something from one, let me see if this one has a SysID number. So if you're copying something from one course to another, the easiest way to do that is to go into the settings of the course that you want to copy it to, and you will see a SysID number here. I'm going to add one here. This is a fake course, so it did not have a SysID number, but I just added one. But your courses all will have SysID numbers. So you're going to want to find that SysID number. It's unique to that particular course. So this is the course that I am copying to. And you're just going to copy that SysID number. Then you're going to go back to the course that you're copying something from. So in this case, I'm demonstrating how to copy that page that I just created. So I'm going to click on pages. You have to go into the tab. You can't get it from modules. So you have to go into the tab where that item is. Find the item, and you're going to click on the kebab, the 3 dots to the right of that item. And you're going to click on copy to. Now the reason that I had you instructed you to copy that SysID number of the course you're copying to is because you'll see when you click on this, it's basically going to just list all of the courses just with a name, no semester, nothing. It's a pain. So if you just click paste, it's going to pick up the exact course that you want that to go to. And you can select a module to put it in if you want to, or just click copy, and it will copy it over. You can do that with assignments, pages, files. You can just move from one course to another. Excuse me, I feel like I'm losing my voice. But anything that you create in Canvas, you can easily move over from one course to another. So the SysID numbers are all going to be unique to your individual course. If you're talking about the course codes, those are automatically generated by the system. They're generated by OIT when they create the course shells. So that is something that is automatically generated that we don't actually have any control over. All right, so if there's any other questions about pages, go ahead and type those into the chat. And if not, we're going to take a look at my favorite screen capture software, which is what I use for all of my videos that I've created in the Canvas Faculty Hub, and that is ScreencastOMatic. And by the way, at the conclusion of this webinar, you're going to get an email from Go to Training, which is going to contain a handout basically that has links to ScreencastOMatic, has information about conferences and pages, and also has a link to another free screen capture software in there that is rather complicated, but I've included it in there because it's free. So if there's anybody who's super tech savvy and wants to give it a try, you can do that. ScreencastOMatic has a free version, so you can record with the free version up to 15-minute long videos. Their paid version, they have the version that I have costs $18 a year. And so I'm not telling anybody that you have to spend money, obviously, but if you want to spend just a little bit to get a good product for making videos, I can say that I've used this extensively and it's really easy to use. You can edit videos, you can record your screen, record yourself, demonstrate anything that you need to, pull up a PowerPoint, and so on. So if you've seen any of the videos that I've put in the Canvas Faculty Hub, I've made all of those with ScreencastOMatic. So this is an example of the ScreencastOMatic page, and I'm not going to give a really in-depth tutorial of ScreencastOMatic since it's not something that everybody may be interested in, but there is a link on that handout as well that will take you to information about how to use it. But I will just show you when you are ready to, if you're recording something, you can click on Launch Recorder. And it's basically going to, again, give you the option. You can record your screen. You can record your webcam, so just you, or you can record both. And so your students can see you and then also see your screen and whatever it is you're demonstrating. And you can also change the screen size easily so that you're not showing your whole screen or have it show your whole screen. And you'll just click record when you're ready. And what I also really like about this is that it is also editable. The video editing that comes with it is very easy to use so that you can cut out, if you make a mistake, or you can always put overlays in there of words or a picture or whatever you want to do. So I'm going to just pause this and I'm going to click done so that I can show you what the video editor looks like. And again, there is a free version of this. So just because if you don't want to spend the money, you don't have to. You can also use the free version. So I'm going to click this edit video button. and then it's going to bring up the video. And you've got a lot of different tools. And again, I don't want to belabor the point of editing here, but the one that I probably use the most is cutting. So if I'm talking and I make a mistake, I don't start over. I just click cut, and then I just drag. I can click play to hear when I'm cutting, to hear what it's going to sound like after I cut it out. Click OK, and it gets rid of it. There's also a lot of other cool things that you can do. I've had a couple of instructors ask about being able to put a to overlay an image or a text. Like if I've had a couple of like my sign language instructors asking, they want to be able to sign and put the words up, and you can do that type of thing as well. So it is a good option, and I won't say that I'm an expert, but I have used it a lot. So if anybody wants to try it out and you have questions, I'll do my best to help you out with those questions as well. And like I said, I do have some resources linked to that on my the handout that you will be getting. So when you're finished, you'll click done. By the way, you can also add captions. I like to use YouTube because YouTube automatically adds captions for you, and they're pretty accurate. They're more accurate than ScreencastOMatic, but if you don't like using YouTube and you still want to have captions so that your videos are accessible, then you can click edit and click add captions and go start with speech to text, and it will fill in what it thinks you said. Sometimes it's kind of funny, and actually this looks pretty good, but you can just kind of read over it. So I had someone that just asked, let me look over at my questions here. All right, so if you want to share a movie with your class, can you do that using Screencast? So here we're kind of getting into some copyright issues too, I think. I mean, you could always play a movie on your computer and using something like ScreencastOMatic record your screen while the movie is playing. However, and I'm not a copyright lawyer, but I know that there are some issues with sharing more than maybe a short clip. So yes, it is possible, but just proceed with caution in that area, because I think just playing a whole movie could definitely cause some problems. So opening up and sharing a PowerPoint, I can absolutely do that. So basically, once you've got your ScreencastOMatic going on your computer, you basically will just do everything the way that you would normally. So let me shrink my controls here so I can see what I'm doing. I'm going to pull up my recorder again. Let me go back to my recording. So I'm going to click record again here. So I can just come down and pull up a PowerPoint on my computer. And let's see what I even have here. We'll just pull this up here. So I can just make it a full screen. I can go ahead and just click record, and now it's going to record my PowerPoint on my screen, and it's going to record my voice talking through, and I can just click and it'll take me to the next slide. I think I only have one slide here, but you'll just click through like you normally would. So you can use your computer the same way that you normally would, but it's going to it's going to record everything that's on your screen. With the free version, there is that 15-minute time limit. With the paid version, I have not come up with any limits on time. I mean, maybe there would be if it was more than a few hours long, but most of the time I don't think you would have a video that long anyway. But as far as I know, there's not any really short time limit on this, and I could look that up for you as well if you needed me to. But I've made some long videos that I've had to edit down if I've made a lot of mistakes or something, and it's never given me an issue. Let me go ahead and click done. Any other questions? And I'll show you how I would take this file and save it and upload it so that it can be accessed on Canvas. But if there's any other questions before I move on to that, feel free to go ahead and ask. So yes, you could have, if you choose to show your screen, and let me click done here again, you can choose to show your screen and your webcam at the same time. Let me get out of here. That's a question that it will ask when you're starting. So when you click record up here, you would want to click both, and that way it'll be showing whatever is on your screen, including a PowerPoint or whatever it is that you're demonstrating. And then we'll also have your little window with your face, and your students can see and hear you while the PowerPoint is presentation is going. So when you are finished, these are going to automatically save onto your ScreencastOMatic, whatever you want to call this, your ScreencastOMatic folder, we'll say. And when you click on it, you'll click on Save as Video File. So you'll need to actually save this as a video file. It'll save it as an MP4 for you. So you'll click Save as a Video File, and you'll see right here it's saving as an MP4. It's going to tell you you can change the file name if you'd like to. You can designate where it's going to go. I'm just going to put this one on my desktop so that I can easily find it. And then you'll just click Publish. And when it's finished, you can actually browse if you need to see where it is. I'm just going to click OK because I know it's on my dashboard. So let me go ahead and get out of this PowerPoint here. So there's a couple ways that you can put this video on Canvas. The first way I'm going to show you is not the way that I recommend doing it for a couple of reasons, but I still want to show you in case you have a quick video that you just want to upload as a file onto your course. So within your files, if you click on your Files tab, this is where any files that you have, PowerPoints, Word documents, anything like that are going to be stored in your course. You can also upload an MP4 file, just like any other file. But a couple things here. Since it's a video file, video files get very large very quickly. And so you do have a limit in your course of 1.5 GB of storage space, and it does not take too many large, long videos before you've run out of space. So that's one consideration. I've also had, if video files are really large, sometimes there's a problem actually even uploading them, and that would be for longer videos. And then thirdly, again, if you've provided captions using ScreencastOMatic, then that's fine. But if you haven't, then YouTube is a way that you can easily get captions. But if you just click Upload on your Files tab in your course, and let me click on my desktop and click on Sample Recording, it uploaded it right there. It's now in my Files tab in my course, and then I would just want to, of course, go to my modules and add it to the module where I want it to go. See, this is my overview video that I made for my students, and I can click Add Item, and now it's right there for my students to see if they click on it. Now, it will take a little bit of time to convert, and this was a pretty short video, but Canvas is basically converting it into the file that they have, that they use, the file type they use on within Canvas. The students also could click here to download it as well. So that's one method. If it's a longer video, I do recommend using YouTube, and you can create a free YouTube channel. We actually created one for the distance learning department. Rose actually just created it herself. And that the way that you would upload videos, so you can just create a video channel for yourself, click the create button, it's a little video camera with a plus sign on it, and click upload video. And then you can just click on this icon to find your file. We'll just click sample recording. And by the way, all of the videos, again, in the Canvas Faculty Hub are linked through YouTube. That's how we do it for sake of time. And so you're going to give it a title. You can describe it, let your viewers know, your students know what the video is about. And then down here, it always makes you say, no, this is not made for children. And then I always just come here and go ahead and get the link. So you can even just come right here, click copy link address, click next. And by the way, there is a video on how to do this in the Canvas Faculty Hub as well if you need a refresher. I just keep clicking next. And then when you get to this area here, I know a lot of instructors are a little bit, they don't want the idea of their videos just kind of being out there for anyone to see. So I usually recommend in that case, you can make it unlisted, which means that it's never going to be a searchable video. So your students, the link is going to be embedded into your course, so your students can click on the link and watch it, but you're not going to have random people just searching and finding your video. I make all of mine public for the distance learning channel, but we'll keep this one unlisted since it isn't actually anything. And then we'll click save. And depending on how long the video is, it could take 5-10 minutes to publish. It's usually pretty quick, but if it's maybe an hour long, it's going to take a little longer. And then again, you've got your video link here. Again, just right click and click copy link address. You can click close. The captions will take a little time to load as well, but those will happen automatically. You don't have to do anything to make your video be captioned. And so then what you're going to do is you're going to go back to your course, and this time instead of uploading it as a file, you're going to create a page. And you're going to click Add Page. You're going to give it a title. Call it Media Sample 2. And this time you're going to click on this Insert or Edit Media button. When you click on that, you just paste your URL right there into this source box and click OK. And it's going to embed your video right there. So your students can just watch it right within Canvas. They don't have to get rerouted outside of it. And then just come down, click Save and Publish. And again, of course, we always want to add everything to a module. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And now it is accessible by my students. So if you have any questions about anything that we've gone over today, please feel free to go ahead and type that in the chat, or if there's any related questions that I have not gone over, you can also type those into the chat as well. If you have something that is something you need to know, but it's kind of off topic, I am going to share my email address with you just so that you have it. And I'm also going to put the distance learning email address in here as well. So I did see I had a question about can this tool be used from a synchronous standpoint? So there's no way to go live with ScreencastOMatic. It's really just to make recordings that will be presented later. So this is really more of an asynchronous tool. So I will say that's what I have for you today. Again, I am going to hang out for a little bit and answer any other questions that you may have. But if you don't have any questions, then I just want to say have a wonderful afternoon. And as always, please stay safe and healthy. And if you have any questions that you think of later, feel free to send them my way and I'll be happy to answer them as best I can. Thank you so much, everyone.